It's time for another show full of tips and ideas from the sales growth leadership expert, Dean Akers. Known for his experience in hyper-growing companies and creating cultures for high-performance teams, here's Dean.
Well, welcome to our 55th episode. We're excited to have everybody back listening. We had a big week last week. Had a lot of feedback on the conversations we had last week about asking questions. And one of the things that came out of the asking questions when we were talking about it, a lot of my ninjas out there know that, is this recording pin where you can just record the questions you're asking when you're on a conversation with a customer. And when you play it back, we find that, as I jokingly say, we get to see where the train wreck happened before the crash site. So remember about asking those questions. If you're a first-time listener, that's a good one to listen to. It was last week's asking questions and learning to listen. Again, this 8 megabyte recorder pin's available from Walmart. That's where I got it. It's powerful for learning. It's about $25 with freight. It's about $30. Well worth the investment in growing your business. This week, we're going to talk a little bit about building your brand. I had an opportunity this week to speak to a group of CEOs on brand building. And the key with this it wasn't company brand building, but personal brand building. And a lot of people get confused and misunderstand the value of personal branding and personal brand building, whether they work within a company or not. As a matter of fact, I was talking to my brother, and he was talking about one of his counterparts who was having some challenges within the company, and how his perception by others was a disruptor or not able to get along or whatever, which thus was creating his personal brand, whether he liked it or not. And so it was pretty interesting when we talk about personal brand, how it happens. So I want to talk to you today about personal branding and how important it is. The big thing with personal branding is your brand starts when you're young. Your personal brand starts when you're in grade school, junior high school. And people go, well, what do you mean my personal brand starts then, Dean? Well, it starts from the context that people judge who you are. And a personal brand is nothing more than people's perceptions or how they see you. That's what a personal brand is. And so at the end of the day, when you're young, they'll say, oh, that kid is he's a jerk, or he's spoiled, or he's an athlete, or whatever. And they're establishing personal brands when you're young. Second fact is, every one of us has a personal brand, whether we like it or not. And somebody goes, well, what do you mean? I said, everybody has a personal brand. Short of living on an island by yourself all your life, then you might not. But if you're at all involved living anywhere but on a desert island or deserted island by yourself, you truly have a personal brand. And your personal brand, whether you like it or not, is the perception others have of you. That's your personal brand. So here's the question. You want to work, or it's recommended you work on developing a brand, so the brand you develop is the brand you choose, not the brand that other people choose for you. So how do I know this is true? Well, you'll see it all the time. You'll see it with people, how they buy purses. They'll buy Louis Vuitton purses. You don't think that's part of setting who their personal brand is? The clothes they wear. Tattoos. People that get tattoos. They're establishing whatever their personal brand they want to speak out about by these outward signs of outward displays of who they are. Buying a car, a fancy car, a sports car, a truck, all those are developing who your personal brand is. Again, that's just a fact. It's a fact. So the real key for today is developing the brand that you want to have, or your choice of your brand, not letting your brand be developed by your lack of action. So what are some of the techniques for developing personal brand? One of them is just how you interact with people. I'm often talk to folks about how you treat others as part of your personal brand. So if you're one of these antagonistic or jerk people, your brand is going to be you're a jerk. If you smile, or you say thank you, or you welcome people in, or when you're at the grocery store and you're checking out, you ask the checkout attendant, how's your day going? She goes, it's going great. Great. I'm happy for you. Things that develop your personal brand. That resonates back to you inside too, because as you develop a great personal brand, your self-esteem's up and you just fit in better and you have more success. Formal marketing is another way for social or personal branding. You'll see this especially with bigger brands. You'll see the Kardashians, no matter what you want to think about them, they have professional marketing. My son's significant other, she has a fairly strong brand. She has almost 500,000 followers on Instagram, and she has professionals that help her manage her brand. So having professionals manage your brand is another method of building out your personal brand. Most of us don't go to that extent, and not that you need to. You have other methods to develop your personal brand. Networking develops your personal brand. Not only how you interact with people, but the company you keep. If you go to CEO groups, or you're involved in Rotary, or you're involved in your church, or you're involved in athletics. And I'll give you an example. This weekend, I'm running in the Gasparilla 5K. Well, there's going to be about 20,000 plus people, I guess, in this race. It's not a race for winning. It's a race to be involved. Everybody there will identify to the brand of others that they're out there to run, whether it's exercise or whatever, but they're all going to be identified as runners on that Saturday morning. And there's going to be some kind of esprit de corps. People are going to go, good seeing you out here that you've never met. Maybe even a chance to meet people out there and share part of your personal brand. Then there's brand platforms. And what I'm doing with you today is a brand platform. Podcasting sets up brand platforms. Posting different things to blogs is personal, or is brand platforms. Having a radio show is a brand platform. There's ways to have brand platforms. These podcasts are excellent brand platforms, and you'll see it in all kind of aspects too. Not just what I do, helping people develop their business and their sales and their skills, but other kinds of things. So, and then lastly is social media. 10 years ago, social media was just coming online, and now today social media is one of the biggest things for developing your personal brand, good and bad. Social media, I have a kind of rule of thumb on social media. If there's no upside to it, don't do it. And I find that if you stay out of controversy and you just have positive things, you can develop that brand. That being said, there's people that their brand is to develop controversy, and they use social media for that, and they'll get all kinds of comments, thousands of different opinions, and that's part of their brand. They're using social media. The other thing is that with social media, I'll meet people that are trying to grow their brand, and I'll say, let's check your social media statuses. And I have people that are trying to be successful in business and have a LinkedIn account with 100 followers and no data in there at all. Is that hurting their personal brand? And I had one guy tell me, well, Dean, I don't really care about the internet. Here's what I want to throw out too. When people meet you, more than likely, if there's going to be any ongoing interactions with you, whether it's an employer looking at you, it's you looking at a company, you looking at somebody you met at a meeting, you're going to probably Google their name. And then their personal brand will start really popping out, good and bad. So personal brand's very important. Now, the exercise for this week. This is a cool exercise for your personal brand. Get 20 to 30 of your friends, independent of each other, ask them to write a one-sentence overview of what they think your brand is. And if they go, what do you mean? Say, brand is how others see you. Will you please write me just a one-sentence brand review of how you see me? Get the 20, 30 of them together. Look for common threads. Then ask yourself, is that the definition of the brand you want? Now, let's say it is. then how do I expand on that? How do I develop that even more? If it's not, it's a great fork in the road for you to start working on developing a brand you really want. Because again, everybody has a personal brand. So what you want to make sure is you want to control the definition of your brand, not your actions set up how your brand is controlled where you don't know or control it. This is very important in personal branding. So I want you to go out and do your brand assessment with 20 or 30 of your friends. It's a great exercise. I want you to understand that everybody has a brand, whether you like it or not. So if you say, hey, I don't have to worry about it, yes, you do, because you have a personal brand. And the fact you don't want to worry about it is probably speaks volumes to your personal brand. And your personal brand, by the way, is your single biggest asset. So what I want you to do is take this serious, if you choose to, and know that you need to manage your biggest asset, which is your personal brand. So until we talk next week, have a great week. I do want to throw this out one more time because this is big. My book has been blowing out. It's on Amazon now. I'm really proud. It's on all the major networks. But you don't have to go there and buy it. If you want a copy of this book, just email me at book@deanakers.com. That's book@deanakers.com. And one of our folks is going to get this book out to you absolutely free. Mail it out to you, the book. Self-talk, think like a child. You'll love it. It's got a lot of business basics in there. Talks about a lot of stuff we talk about on the show. So again, that's book@deanakers.com. And again, if you ever have a question, because I get them all the time and ideas and people need help, you always got me at dean@deanakers.com and my website, www.deanakers.com. And I just want to thank everybody again for all the downloads all over the world. I want to thank you for the feedback I get every week on the emails and stuff. And it makes me get out of bed saying, I really appreciate everybody listening, and I really appreciate and hope that the message each week helps you grow. So until we meet again next week, go out and build that personal brand.
We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Subscribe today to our podcast and send questions or thoughts to help@deanakers.com. Also, visit us at www.deanakers.com to listen to prior shows and view helpful videos. Also, great tips to download. Thanks again. See you next week.